Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. So, the Italian tank destroyers. We've already had a close look at the Mini or Minotauro. We've just had a look at the Tier 9, which is very, very good. But now let's have a look at the Tier 8. A closer look at the Tier 8. Now, this tank, all depending on how you play it and of course what gun you play it with, is potentially one of the strongest tanks in Tier 8, if not the strongest tank in Tier 8. Now, I would strongly recommend not to use the auto-loading gun, because you use the auto-loading gun, the DPM sucks, and yeah, you've just got to remember not to use that last shell. Just use the single shot gun. I can't stress that enough. Just use the single shot gun. So other than that, like the armor profile as well, it's not just the DPM or anything like that. This is all about the armor profile. The armor profile on this is so good. It is absolutely amazing, and if you put this tank in the right position, it is almost impossible to penetrate that turret. You can see it does have some hatches, but I mean the hatches are strong and they are very, very small, so they're not easy pens. Them hatches really are not easy pens. Good luck penning them. So yeah, you can see here we're on 2.5k damage. We've bounced 920 damage. If you're in the open, then of course you can be penetrated. But even that, like, your hull is decent enough and to get some bounces, especially when you are coming up against those Tier 7 mediums, Tier 7 light tanks. You will be able to get some bounces. So when these tanks were first released, or especially this tank, like, I knew they were going to be strong. But I didn't realize they were going to be so strong, and especially the Tier 8 version. So and when I played this, I didn't have this battle that long ago, and I only got 3.2k damage, and in fact that was enough for a mastery badge. So I thought this tank by now, by the time I was playing it, would have been a lot more tougher to get that mastery badge. But you know, I'm not complaining. I got the ace, and very, very low XP, just 1000 XP for that. So let's just have a look at the stats of this SMV CC64, and we'll talk through it. We'll also have a look at the armor profile as well. So you can see here the turret armor is 255 millimeters, the hull is 220, almost the same as the Tier 9, except you're seeing Tier 8s. And the thing with this tank, you can choose that Tier 8 gun as well. That is not the auto loader, which is why this tank is probably a lot stronger than the Tier 9 version. So always use this gun that I'm using and not the top guns. So the DPM is around about 3000 with this gun, which is respectable. It is respectable. It is a tank destroyer, but you don't really play it like a tank destroyer, if I'm honest. This tank reload 8.24 seconds, penetration 225 on your AP, 281 on your heat, and 60 on your HE. So you can run calibrated shells and you will get around about 300 pen on your heat. You've got a 410 alpha, 350 on your heat, and 525 on your HE. Aim time is 4.1 and the dispersion is 0.337. And you do have a very respectable 11 degrees of gun depression. It's not quite the better than the Tier 9 version, which is 13 degrees, but you know, we can make do with 11 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. 11 degrees is very, very nice. So this is what you are going to see when you come up against this tank. Just pure red. Pure red. The upper plate there, 280 millimeters. The lower plate, okay, is 140, 120 millimeters. It all depends on your angles. And the turret there, I mean, look, looking directly at the tank, over 300 millimeters, and even the sides of the tank, they look orange, but effective, they are almost impossible to penetrate. And just look at the hatches on top as well. Like, this is what you're going to see if you come up against this tank. It is almost impossible to penetrate. Think of a Kranwagen hold down. You can't penetrate it. And this will be very, very similar to that. But you have to hide your lower plate, just like the tier 9 version, and the same as the tier 10 version. Like, you have to hide that lower plate. If you don't, you will be able to get penetrated. Of course, there are weak points around. You can see just above the tracks, you can penetrate the lower plate. The side of the turret is very, very strong. But as soon as you start to angle like this, then of course the sides do become a lot weaker. So your main goal driving this tank is to face the enemy, and to try to hide that lower plate. If you can do that, if you can get on a ridge and use that 11 degrees of gun depression, then I would strongly recommend that you do that. And also use a single shot gun. Do not use the auto reloading gun with this tank. So we're going to have another game here. We're going to watch this guy from the GTX clan, and this battle could actually go in World of Dummies, because the enemy, I mean, I know this is a strong tank, but there's a particular tank on the enemy team that is just stupid, absolutely stupid, and he completely changes the outcome of what this battle should be. So they've gone to the left side, or he's going to the left side towards A. Now, I wouldn't have thought that they would go this side. There is literally no mediums on his team. So usually when there's no mediums, you tend to go to the right side, but he's going sort of middle. He's going middle, and if he does come across the medium, then he shouldn't really struggle against that medium, especially as if you look at the minimap, there is another heavy tank going towards A, and he does have another tank destroyer behind him. So here's the Ferdinand. Obviously, yes, he does get that pen very, very easy, because he's in the position where he can get that pen. So he just needs to back off, and then he needs to use this heal to his advantage, and then he will be able to get bounces. But so far, he hasn't used the heal to his advantage, and he's pretty much now a one-shot. Just 2 shots from this Ferdinand, and he is now a one-shot. But here comes the Bagetto. Now, the Bagetto, he's trying to rush him, but he doesn't realize that there is another tank destroyer behind. Now he's only on 70 odd hit points left. He does get lucky there, killing that Bagetto. So far, the armor profile hasn't done itself justice, but he is in that position where they can penetrate him. They can penetrate his lower plate, no problem whatsoever. So he now just needs to focus a little bit, because all it's going to take now is one HE shot. One HE shot from a decent tank, or a big gun, or a heavy, and that will be game over. But now he's in that position where he can have some side shots against these tanks. The AT7 there, he's got some side shots there. Here comes the T77 Cannonball. He's going to have some side shots into him as well. So he's now playing from distance, which is what he needs to do, considering he is very, very low hit points. So at the moment, he hasn't bounced a single thing. He hasn't bounced a single thing, which kind of then people are going to look like, Midsy, what are you on about? The armor profile being so good. Like, this guy hasn't bounced a single shot. But yeah, he's going to bounce. He is going to bounce some shots. But as I've said at the beginning of this battle, he does get very, very lucky. So it is now a 2 versus 4. He's a one-shot, and it's a 2 versus 4. Surely this isn't going to end well for him. Of course, there is a tank, a heavy on his side as well, and he gets his first bounce from this T77. I have no idea why these guys just then ignored him. Why ignore him and go for a full hit point tank? Now, this is where it's stupid. All 4 of these tanks, every single one of them, ignore the one shot to go for the full hit point tank. How stupid can someone be? The T77, like, he would have had him. He would have had him. You know, the Smasher, What are you doing? Just a HE shot is all it takes. But now there goes the Skoda, and it is now a 1 versus 1. But he's up against a full hit point Smasher. The Smasher has a very, very nice gun. One of the nicest guns in tier 7. And our guy in the SMV here misses his shot. What the Smasher is actually going to do, look, he's full hit points. He's going to start shooting AP or heat. Just shoot HE, dude. Just shoot HE. When you're in a Smasher, shooting HE, you can even shoot HE next to the tank, right next to the tank, and it will still be enough to do 70 damage. Like, he bounces the first shot. Surely you would then learn your lesson. No, he bounces the second shot, and it's game over. So he ends up with 1400 block damage, but what the hell was that Smasher doing? He totally lost them that game. But also, what was the 4 people doing who just totally ignored a one-shot tank? The one-shot strongest tank in tier 8. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what you think of this tank. Do you think it is one of the strongest in tier 8? I will be waiting for your comments. But for now, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.